You guys ever just sit around watching TV and then all of a sudden something like falls and you're confused as to why it happened and you're looking around like, oh my God, is there somebody here with me or is there like a spirit or something? And it made me like think about if there was something that would be worse to have at home, whether it would be a ghost or maybe a witch. Because sometimes I feel like witches can put spells on you and then like make you think you're thinking of something or just come up and, you know, it can be your lamp and then all of a sudden, yeah, I'm here to take you on my broomstick. Well, anyways, I'm wondering what's scarier, a ghost or a witch?
Witches are sick. And I'm friends with some people who cast some bomb spells. Listen, don't mess with me and my friends. A ghost, I don't know. I mean, it depends on if the ghost is there for nefarious reasons. There's this episode of Angel where Cordelia moves into this amazing apartment and it's haunted by this ghost, but they end up becoming friends and the ghost is kind of chill. Like if I had like a chill ghost roommate, I would be okay with that. And I could be the witch and I live with the ghost. So I guess
sounds like being human. That's
right?
just like the plot of that show.
But yeah, I don't know. Like if the ghost is there and he's like a horror movie ghost, and obviously that ain't chill. I don't want to die. Let's just sum it up that way.
Yeah, I agree. If it's like Casper, I'll totally pick Casper over a witch.
Casper was hot when he turned into Devon Sawa. I grew up a lot that day.
Like, wait, what?
You ever seen that movie?
I mean, yeah, but I don't remember thinking, sheesh.
Casper turns into Devon Sawa at the end, and he's like gorgeous. And I just remember thinking, like,
I'm a woman now.
Find me a ghost.
But I think for me, a witch is scarier because it's an actual person, where a ghost is just kind of an orb. Unless it's a demonic one, then obviously we're going to have
You're
a whole
thinking of like the
story.
Ghost Adventures ghosts, where they're like, did you just see that orb just there?
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
what's that orb going to do?
Of course.
But yeah.
But I was talking about going to Jerome, so if anyone wants to go ghost hunting, let me know.
I'm down.
Okay.
I don't know. I came to the conclusion that ghosts and witches are just misunderstood. You know, they just want to roam, live their lives, do some witchcraft, scare some children. Like, why do we have to get in the way of their life? That's what I feel.
Basing all of my knowledge off of the show Supernatural, I would say that ghosts are scarier because at least in that realm, the ghosts are always just so pissed and always like Rowena is a witch and she joins Team Free Will and ends up helping them. But the ghosts are like never helpful, ever, ever, ever. They're always just like self-serving.
That makes sense because, I mean, what are they going to do? Well, they can't touch anything. They can't pick anything up. Maybe not everybody can hear them.
They're useless. Witches, badass chicks who have been wronged and just want to correct some things in the world. I'm here for it.
Coming in hot from Olympus Games in Mesa, Arizona.
It's the Pop Culture Junkie Podcast.
Good day, good people. It's your boy, Alexander Castillo Nunez, and you're obviously listening to the Pop Culture Junkie Podcast, and it can't be the Pop Culture Junkie Podcast without my fellow junkies.
I'm Nicole.
I'm Shauna.
And I'm Hayley.
And today is a very special day because we have a very special guest. This is a community man who's out there making people feel happy, bringing all kinds of joy, especially to our kids and other people that might not be feeling happy at a moment, but he makes sure to be able to bring that through his own fandoms and passions. And I'd like to introduce Mr. Jeff Lewis.
Hello. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. You know, I've looked in a little bit on your organization, the Arizona Ghostbusters, and you guys do some really cool stuff in the community. And really just want to know more about it, what inspired you to do the things that you're doing I've seen that you've worked with Children's Hospital, with cancer associations, and, just to name a couple of a lot of the different organizations that you've partnered with.
Man, where do I start? It's first off, it's been 15 years now that we've been doing this. Obviously, I was a Ghostbuster fan my entire life. So when I was a kid, I wanted to grow up and be a Ghostbuster. And I kind of found a way to actually do that, which is funny because, we're not actually busting ghosts. And for the record, I don't believe in ghosts. And I was just in Jerome when I saw no ghosts. I'm sorry.
Disappointing.
I stayed in the haunted hotel.
I just read about that today. It
I've
seems
been
so
there
interesting.
too. It was definitely not haunted.
I'll have to stay.
Yeah, like there's some like leaky pipes or something. But not quite as much ghostly as it got. But we first started in 2007, and I'm from Indiana, so I was actually in the Indiana Ghostbusters first. I started dressing up as a Ghostbuster in 2000, and kind of inspired my friends to do it. At the time, I met our co-founder, Matt Haynes. He dressed up as a Ghostbuster the first time in 1989.
Oh, wow.
He did like a haunted house when the second movie came out. And I ran into him at Phoenix Comic Con that year, and we just clicked, and we just started talking about, like, what can we do with this? And it was his idea to do charity work. When I first started it, I was all about just the costuming aspect, like making my pack as perfect as possible, making my jumpsuit the correct jumpsuit, all that kind of stuff. I wasn't worried about the charity work aspect of it. I just kind of thought it was like a way or like a means to an end at first. I wasn't sold on it. And we started doing events. MS Walk was our first event. And just seeing people's reaction and meeting people just totally changed my outlook on what we do and what we can do with what we have.
Awesome. So how many of you guys is it?
Right now we've got 40 members.
40?
Across the state.
Wow.
We have a group here in Phoenix. We have a group in Prescott, a group in Yuma, and a group in Tucson. So we can all be out at exactly the same time doing events.
That's cool. How does somebody get involved? Like if there's a ghost head out there listening and isn't already, involved, like how?
I know. We want all of them in the group. We want all of them to join us. All they got to do is go to our website, ArizonaGhostbusters.com, and just shoot us an email and say, hey, I want to join. We do background checks on everybody because we do things like the Children's Hospital and school visits all the time. And that's all it takes.
Nice.
We do that every year.
So I saw some pictures of the car. What's it called?
Ecto-1.
The Ecto-1?
Well, ours is the Ecto-AZ.
Oh, Ecto.
And we have a couple other ones, too. Like mine's the Ecto-1AZ. And we have like the Ecto-1S and Ecto...
Okay, and this is per different group. They have a different Ecto. Are they all the same?
No, our group has like 10, and they're all different cars.
That's so cool.
But like
That's
mine's,
amazing.
a couple of them, like mine, is an old ambulance.
Oh, cool.
nice.
That's very cool.
Because the original in the movie was a hearse, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a hearse ambulance combo.
Okay.
Okay, I was going to ask, is this your day-to-day vehicle?
No. Well, some of the guys, yes. Some of the guys with
Just
the
rolling
more,
up to school, drop off.
That would be
driving
like my
that.
dream. I'm
pretty
not even
cool.
lying to
Yeah,
you. That
for
would be
real.
so cool.
Yeah, some of the guys have more modern cars like HHRs and stuff, and that's their daily driver car, and they have them geared up all the time. Some of them, they could take it on and off. And then us with the old cars, like they're always, it's all bolted on. It's always an Ecto.
Side note, I used to work right down the road, and there's a house right over here that always had an Ecto parked in front of it. And so I was like, I'd always drive by, and then sometimes there would be different Ectos. They'd be
It's
like
a
working on
Ghostbuster.
them and fixing them and stuff. And I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, I know.
It's like, I thought it was fascinating. I'd roll into work in the morning and be like, is the Ghostbuster car going to be there today?
So for the uniforms and jumpsuits, do you guys make those yourself? Do you have like sewing days where everybody has to create their own uniform? Or
Yeah, everybody, we have like a standard jumpsuit everybody gets, and then we have the patches and like the name tag you have to order online. So it's like the correct font and all that stuff. But yeah, we help each other out, get everything together.
That's so cool.
We do proton pack building days. I've lost track of how many proton packs I've built now in my life. But
so
I have all the molds, so I create all the parts.
You know what I appreciate? I watched this video where you were giving a presentation and you were talking about only sort of growing up. And I feel like that's what we need, and yeah, you're going to like children's hospitals and speaking to children. And I'm not saying that that's the only thing you do, because I'd like to know more of the other organizations, but really being able to find that person in you, that child in you, even if they're adult characters, but like being able to still keep those things that bring you joy. I mean, also share that with others and hopefully, inspire people. I mean, it seems like you've inspired 30 plus people to join your group.
Yeah, it's a little, it's definitely, I try not to take it for granted. I mean, when I was a kid, I push around an Ecto on the floor and make Ecto siren sounds to drive my family crazy. And I never thought I'd be driving around town in one. I never thought I'd own one. And I do. So I try to always pinch myself and not let myself like forget that like this is all like special stuff. And at every event we meet somebody who reminds us of what we do, like minimum of one person. You know, we just did the Dream Night at the zoo in Tucson, and that's when they closed the zoo down to only special needs kids. And at the end of the night, a girl came up to me and she said, "Thank you for doing this. Thank you for doing an event like this for kids like me."
Awesome. So what was the moment where you were like, let's focus more on doing this for charity? And
Just a moment exactly like that. Like, I think one of the first moments for me was kind of like the moment my buddy Matt had. And he's got it on video. He's got it all on video from 1989. His dad recorded it on VHS with a giant camcorder of this kid walking up asking him for an autograph.
Oh.
And you see it, and he fills out the kid's little notepad. And the kid's like, "You're the Ghostbusters." And one of our first events was at Mesa Bookman's, and this kid walks up to me and he goes, he asked us to sign his DVDs. And I'm like, "I can't sign your DVDs. Like, I'm not anybody in the movie." And he's like, "This is you. You're Ray.
Oh.
This is you." And I'm like, "Okay." So this kid's got this signed DVD of me signing it as Ray.
That's cool.
And it happened again a couple of months ago. A kid had his Ecto-1 toy, and he's like, "Sign this."
that's cool. That's
So
cool.
it's moments like that. And when I was a kid, I never got to meet Ghostbusters. I used to go to Universal Studios in Florida a lot, and they had a car and they had the stage show. I got to see that, but I never got to meet the Ghostbusters. All the times that I went, they were never out. But I knew that they would be coming out sometimes, and they never did when I was there. So for me, it's a big deal to meet these kids that are looking up to Ghostbusters, and we get to fulfill that experience for them. So every event, like we just did Phoenix Bookman's last week, and like 10 kids showed up in Ghostbuster costumes. And the parents will email us or messages later saying like, "Oh, my kid talked about the rest of the day was meeting you."
Awesome.
So it's things like that that keeps us going, and that's why we do like the hospital visits, and we adopt a children's group home every year for Christmas, and take care of their entire Christmas for them.
That's beautiful.
So we just do things like that, and it's always important for me to get the message out, like I did in my presentation, that no matter what your nerdy thing is, you can find a way to use it for good.
Exactly.
I'm trying not to completely like fangirl about all things Ghostbusters right now because I know we have other things to talk about. But I'm a big Ghostbusters fan myself. My husband and I cosplayed as the gatekeeper and the keymaster, and my baby was the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and my daughter was a Ghostbuster one year. But I've got to ask, have you ever had the opportunity to meet any of the cast from any of the films?
Yeah, I know Ernie Hudson pretty well. Most of us do, because Ernie Hudson's like super accessible. Like, I mean, his number's in my phone.
That's so cool.
And if we're doing something, I can call him up and he'll do like a video for us. Like unfortunately, one of our members passed away a couple years ago, and he did a video for his son. And some of the other cast members, I know Robin Shelby, she played Slimer. Mark Brian Wilson played Slimer in Ghostbusters 1. William Bryan played Stay Puft. We've had William Atherton now, who played Walter Peck. He's done some conventions with us. And of course, he's the nicest guy in the world, totally not like in his roles in any movies he's ever done. And we've met Ivan Reitman, we met Jason Reitman. We met Dan Aykroyd several times. So, yeah, and they're all into the idea of what we do.
Nice.
So they try to help us out as much as they can.
That's very cool.
Are you guys affiliated with the other state chapters of the Ghostbusters, or is everybody like an independent organization?
We're all independent, but we all help each other out
Nice.
and share ideas. Our group was really the first to do charity work. That was kind of like our thing. And when we first started doing it, there's only maybe 10 teams, tops, in the country and the world. Now there's hundreds. But at first they were like, you can't do charity work at Ghostbusters. You're like you're a downer or whatever. Like you can't do it like this, because this 501st was doing it as the Star Wars characters, and we thought, well, we can do that. Everyone loves Ghostbusters. And we just started doing events, and some people were really negative, like, you guys can't do this as Ghostbusters. And we're like, well, we are, and we're going to. And it took off. I mean, our first year, though, it took a while for us to get established. I mean, I think our first year we did like 5 events. We did 5 events last week.
Cool.
Like, that's how things have changed.
Yeah. People are always going to tell you, you can't do it, you can't do it. And then you just be like, hey, shh.
Prove them wrong.
Just watch.
So
And now-
speaking of events, the really, really big event coming up for Ghostbusters fans, the new Ghostbusters movie, Ghostbusters Afterlife, right? It's coming out any day now?
Yeah, next Friday, the 19th.
So I imagine that you guys have appearances and things scheduled. Tell us a little bit about that and what the plans are for this next chapter in this Ghostbusters saga.
Oh, man. Yeah, we have, we're going to be at Harkins basically all week long, different Harkins. That Friday, we're going to be at the Seneca Capri. And then Saturday, we're going to be at both the Queen Creek and then the Chandler Fashion Square Harkins. And then Sunday, we'll be at the Goodyear Estrella Falls Harkins for a few hours each day. So, and then in the middle of that, we're going to do an ALS walk.
Wow. Really making moves.
Busy.
Yeah, for real. That's cool. Well, we are the pop culture junkies. And, as we all have our own kind of fandoms, kind of want to get to know about yours. I'm assuming there's other kind of pop culture stuff
You watch
like
other things
outside
besides
of
Ghostbusters, right?
Yeah, I haven't even watched Ghostbusters in like years, by the way.
Come on, because you lived the life. So
I know. Well, some of our members do every week, and I did as a kid. I watched both movies like religiously, but I was also a huge Star Trek fan and Star Wars fan. I was a Star Wars fan in the dark ages between Return of the Jedi and 1993 when Timothy Zahn's books came out. So when the Timothy Zahn books came out and the Dark Empire comics came out, like Star Wars blew up.
Finally, more content.
Yeah, but I was in that. I grew up in that dark age when it was not cool to like Star Wars. Like, it's so mind-boggling at times that where everybody loves Star Wars. I grew up being teased because I went Hero Day. I went on Hero Day one year as Luke Skywalker. Everybody else went as like real life, like characters.
It's so
and
funny to
real life
think
people.
back. Like, I got teased in elementary school for liking anime at a certain point. Kids were making fun of my like Sailor Moon backpack. And now that stuff is so cool.
Yeah.
And it's like,
It's
God.
like, it's like a geeky renaissance right
Yeah.
now. Like the very fact that there, are conventions and you can cosplay and like even just at Halloween, people were like, you guys always kill it with your costumes. I'm like, well, I do dress up like 20 times a year. So I should hope so. But the very fact that we can do that and not be like social pariahs, like
Right.
I feel like I need to enjoy it while it lasts because it won't be like that forever.
Yeah, like back then we just had Star Trek cons and then like really small local comic cons like at hotels. And that's what I grew up going to. Like, I still got the ticket for my first Star Trek convention.
Yeah, San Diego Comic-Con started out as like a Star Trek convention.
Oh, did it
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
How interesting.
Yeah, so it's crazy. But yeah, I love Star Wars, I love Star Trek, and I love Doctor Who in the dark times when they're literally, I had to special order everything. And I'm from Mooresville, Indiana. And the only claim to fame Mooresville, Indiana has, besides me, as I like to say, is John Dillinger's from Mooresville, Indiana. But of all things, right after I moved out here, the largest Doctor Who museum and store in North America opened in my hometown.
oh, dope.
So every time I go back, I always go, and I'm like, where was this 20 years ago, 30 years ago? Because they have like costumes and they have like all kinds of toys from the 70s
Wow.
and 60s on display. It's really awesome. But I'm like, cruel fate. Because I had to special order like all the books, all the videotapes from like Suncoast back in like the 90s.
That's awesome.
Well, you are amongst peers now.
One of us.
Hi, I'm Hayley the Brave, teacher and mom by day, cosplayer and pop culture junkie by, well, also by day. I'm obsessed with all things fandom and I love to talk about it. So join me and some of my friends as we geek out about TV, movies, music, and all the awesome things that make life worth living. Listen to my podcast, 30 Nerdy and Thriving, available now on all major streaming platforms.
Let's move it along to some puppet and Drop It reviews. Jeff, this is, or anybody listening, our Pop It and Drop It reviews are our recommendations. If we recommend you pop something, that means, hey, we like it. So go ahead and pop it. And if we're not really into it, we're like, okay, we recommend you drop this one. And sometimes we're kind of like in between, and maybe we're like,
Is that where you lock it?
We call that hot potato. I don't know why. We hot
Maybe
potato
we should
it.
lock it.
made it a lot
lock
yeah,
it.
it's a
We'll lock it there, and then come back to
Yeah.
it and then see how you feel. Maybe we should.
lot
Unlock
more
it
sensical.
later.
Yeah.
That makes more sense than potatoes.
But yeah, we'll go around and then we'll, bring it right back to you, Jeff, and see if there's anything that you've been into, whether it's fashion, whether it's music, whether it's movies, whether it's TV, whether they're books, anything pop culture that you would like to either recommend or not recommend. But yeah, let's start it off with some of us here. Nicole, would you like to start off?
Sure. So I'm just going to go ahead and say I'm going to pop it. I watched the Yellowstone season 4 premiere on Paramount, directed by Taylor Sheridan. The main star in this is Kevin Costner, who plays John Dutton. And in the season 3 finale, he was like, the ending of it was him being seen shot on the side of a road and kind of just left for dead. But then obviously his family and stuff figured out that something was wrong. So they found where he was at. And since he is the main star and it is Kevin Costner, he is alive. Spoilers, not really, if you watch the episode. But
No way, the main character's still alive?
yeah, so you had no worries there to think that he was going to die. But if you don't know what the show's about, it's about a family, and they are kind of the big names of the town. And if you mess with them, they just will come and find you, and they will kill you. Literally
Nice.
straight up murder you. So don't mess with the Duttons. And this premiere had 8 million viewers, which is 104% more than season 3 and the
Oh, wow.
most watched cable series telecast since 2018 with The Walking Dead.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
Whoa,
Yeah.
even like through COVID.
Yeah. So definitely if you're looking for something kind of different to watch, but also a good series, I would highly recommend Yellowstone. Again, you can find it on Paramount. It's not on Paramount Plus because I did get that and did not find it on there. But if you just have like regular Paramount, you can find it on there.
Nice.
Awesome. Yeah, I've heard good things about Yellowstone. It seems kind of like a country Ozark or kind of like this dark, gritty thing. But yeah, I've heard good things, so I need to check that one out.
I love Ozark, so I might love Yellowstone. That's what
I
you're
know. I
saying?
miss Ozark too. Well, I watched some pretty big things this week. I watched Marvel's Eternals.
Ooh.
Oh man,
I've been hearing
guys.
some mixed things
Don't
about
drop it,
this.
dude.
You
Are you gonna
guys,
drop it?
listen.
Are you gonna drop
I'm
it?
gonna drop Eternals. I know it hurts. Okay, listen. First of all, I am an MCU fangirl. I left this movie defending it to the ends, and the more I thought about it, it's like that was not a good movie.
no.
I won't say drop it completely if you care about Marvel and you want to know where the universe is at. I'm one of those people who says watch every movie so you can at least know where it's going, especially the end credit scenes, which I won't spoil here, but they set up some very interesting things moving forward. But my goodness, this cast is just... It's a stacked cast. I mean, you have Selma Hayek, Angelina Jolie, Kit Harington, Richard Madden, Kumail Nanjiani, but there's just too many of them.
Really?
There's so many characters in this movie that you don't get the chance to really care about anybody.
All right. So isn't that what the Eternals are? Or am I'm just saying that because I don't know much about the
Yeah,
Eternals.
okay, so compared to like Guardians of the Galaxy,
Yeah.
where that is another thing where they brought in a team
Yeah.
of people and had to kind of make you care about each of these people, kind of compare the
I guess
two.
I would say that with this movie, the main character played by Gemma Chan is named Cersei. And they have some soft attempt to make her seem like just a regular person. Here's her boyfriend. Look, she's late for work and texts on her phone. But she's never that relatable. She's really not that interesting of a character, if I'm being totally honest. They set up some weak love triangle between this character that she's supposedly been in love with for thousands of years, Icarus, played by Richard Madden. There is zero sexual tension between these two very attractive people, you guys. Like, we're supposed to believe that they've been in love for this long. We get Marvel's first sex scene of any movie, which I guess is kind of groundbreaking. But, like,
But you don't care.
But I don't care. Like, these people are just slowly kind of humping on the sand on a beach somewhere. And then he shows up, and he leaves, he shows up, and he's like, we've been in love this whole time. And I'm like, have you though? Okay, so some bright spots of the movie. Kit Harington was wonderful in this movie. He is not in it a whole lot, but the spots that he is, he's the only real relatable character, maybe because he's kind of the only human in the movie. And then Kumail Nanjiani was delightful. He was so funny as Kingo. His kind of like human side gig is as a Bollywood star, and it's super funny and delightful. But for the most part, there's just kind of unbelievable relationships, unbelievable in the bad, non-believable way. It was 2.5 hours long, and it felt like it was 2.5 hours long.
It's the first Marvel movie I haven't rushed out and seen.
Yeah, man.
And even Shang-Chi, which I was worried about, I still saw opening weekend and I loved it.
Right?
Nice.
Shang-Chi
Everybody
was
loves Shang-Chi.
so good. Which is why I was like, Eternals is going to rock. Oh, disappointing, you guys.
That must be really bad if there was like a sex scene and Shauna is not approving of it.
I know, especially if it's with Rob Stark. I was like ready to be all about this.
It also sounds uncomfortable.
I've read a lot of mixed reviews. I'm going to see it.
Yeah.
Because you have to. Because it's part of the canon, right? But I don't know. It'll be interesting. I'm going to see it and then check back in with you. Because I'm one of those that, like, when I go into superhero movies, I have, like, very low expectations. So it's hard. It's really hard to disappoint me, which I have discovered because I really like a lot of movies that people hate. Like Captain Marvel is, like, in my top 3, I think, favorite MCU movies. And it just gets slammed consistently. So it'll be interesting to see. But
this was the first Marvel movie to also get a Rotten on Rotten Tomatoes.
Really?
Yep.
even Thor Dark World.
I'm pretty sure that this one has a lower, it's the first one that actually breaks that like 60% threshold to get a green splat. So, Eternals. Something else I watched this week that I'm going to pop is the first episode of Dexter New Blood.
Yes, I actually saw it too.
You did too?
I'm so amped that Dexter's back.
Bruh, right? Like the minute it started, bruh, I was like, I haven't watched a new episode of Dexter in freaking years. And I started getting all sweaty. I was like, oh my God, who's he gonna kill? So I don't want to spoil it too much for people who haven't gotten the chance to watch it yet. But we see in the previews, you know, it's, I think, 10 years after the events in Miami. Dexter is living in a small town in the snow. He's going by James Lindsay now. He runs a weapons, ammunition, kind of like hunting goods store. And he's just trying real hard to be good.
Yeah,
he's trying.
Yeah. I love what they're doing, and they brought back his sister.
Yes,
and I think I've seen it in trailers before, and the news has come out that she's now like his conscience.
Yeah,
because when we lost her in the last season, I was devastated.
Me too.
So, I mean, I'm not surprised that they brought her back this way, but I'm happy that, you know, we are able to get it confirmed. And shout out to my boy, David J. Curtis, who surprised me by being on the cast of Dexter's New Blood. Like,
oh, nice.
Yeah,
Is that someone you know?
Yeah. Someone from the Boston theater scene.
Who'd he play?
Gig. He's the butcher.
Oh, sick. Nice. Yeah, I really like where they're going with this too. And it's interesting to see. I mean, obviously we saw Dexter have a dark passenger through the entire original series. And now Deb is kind of his light passenger. She's the one who's kind of like, you're doing a great job. Don't kill.
I didn't even realize that.
Right? I thought about this in the shower the other day.
God.
I was like, he doesn't have a dark passenger in the other anymore. He's got a light one.
Wow.
Because Deb's trying to like keep him on that straight and narrow. And he's, I'm really excited to see where this goes.
Yeah, me too. All right, so you watched You?
I did not watch You.
I was going to ask Joe Goldberg or Dexter Morgan.
I'm always going to root for Dexter no matter who he's up against because I just love Michael C. Hall.
I only asked for entertainment purposes, but I don't think Joe Goldberg can ever level up to Dexter Morgan.
Dexter level. Goodness. So gonna pop Dexter, New Blood. You can catch it on Showtime. I ended up signing up for like a 30-day free trial. So depending on how many episodes there are of this series, you're gonna see I'm probably gonna have to start paying for it at some point. But yeah, give that a whirl, you guys.
Awesome.
Nice. This week, couple quick things. I went to go see the Phoenix Symphony actually does this thing where they play like the live orchestra along with a film. And so they played the movie Coco, a Disney Pixar movie. They played along with it. And I didn't really know what to expect going into it. My husband got me tickets because that movie holds some sentimental significance for my mother and I. And it was actually really, really cool. It was an awesome experience. You know, like I've seen Coco probably like, I don't know, 20 times or something. So,
man.
I was like, I don't know what I'm going to, get out of this. Dude, I bawled my eyes out for like the last half hour. And at one point I was like, get it together, Tracy. But yeah, so that was really cool. If you're into the arts, if you're into the supporting the arts, you should definitely go to the Phoenix
How was
Symphony.
it, like the experience? Did you feel like the instruments just like vibrate like through your body?
Well, what was interesting is because they were so good that at some parts I forgot that they were playing because you're in it, right? You're just into the movie. But my favorite part about it with the live orchestra was when you knew a big swelling kind of thing was going to be coming, I would stop watching the movie and I would start watching the orchestra. And I just liked watching the conductor, and his energy and how passionate he was. And he gave a whole speech about how he knew that movie in particular resonates culturally and is very important to a lot of people, and that the orchestra took great time and careful consideration into their performance. And it was really good. I'm so glad I went. So I definitely recommend it. They've done them for Harry Potter. They've done them for a bunch of other movies. So definitely recommend that. I'm going to pop that. Also, just going to quickly pop Stranger Things Day as a whole. November 6th was Stranger Things Day. And so Stranger Things just pumped out a bunch of content, and including the trailer for the upcoming 4th season of Stranger Things, which is bizarre to me because the first season premiered like 5 years ago and we're just now getting.
I know. It feels like we have to wait forever.
Yeah.
These kids are going to be 25.
And they do. They look like they posted this video of them like changing into their outfits and their character outfits. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like Caleb McLaughlin in particular. I was like, you look like.
These kids be backstage shaven before they have to go on the camera.
I'm like, what happened? But I'm so excited. They released all the episode titles. One has a reference to Billy, and so people are freaking out about that. I think it's called Dear Billy. And they've also got the second to the last episode is called Papa, and I know that is the episode where Eleven and Hopper are going to reunite, and I'm going to lose my freaking mind. I'm going to bawl my eyes out, but I just can't wait. Obsessed. And then the last thing that I watched this week was I made a commitment, okay? Not just like a promise, not just like, oh, this is a good idea. I have made a commitment, an oath, if you will, to watch as many cheesy Christmas rom-coms as I can over the course of the next 2 months.
I love that for you.
Right? It's a journey. And so I decided to start with a brand new one. So it just came out and it's called Love Hard. It's on Netflix.
Nice.
And it stars...
Nice. I watched a movie called Love Hard earlier today, too.
It's really not what you would think based on... It's very family friendly. But it has Nina Dobrev and Jimmy O. Yang, and no one in the movie was anyone I'd ever seen before. So I had no idea what to expect, but it's cute. The premise is this girl gets catfished. She doesn't know. She goes to surprise this guy for Christmas and realizes he has been lying to her this whole time. Looks nothing like what he said he did. But now she's kind of stuck in his hometown with his family, and they make a deal to just make it through Christmas and pretend that they're in a relationship together. It was so about halfway through, I had this realization that I was like, this movie is just completely ripping off While You Were Sleeping. It is like the exact plot of While You Were Sleeping, except take out a coma and put in like getting catfished. But towards the end of the movie, there are a lot of direct references to While You Were Sleeping, and there's an actual line at the end that is a direct quote from that film. And so I realized it's not a ripoff so much as it's an homage to that movie, and that's one of my favorite movies ever. So I will pop it if you like cheesy Christmas rom-coms, and if that's your jam, then check out Love Hard on Netflix. It is currently ranked number 2 in the top 10.
Cool. Yeah, that kind of reminds me of ABC Family's 25 Days of Christmas. You guys remember those? Do they still do that? I don't know. I haven't TV'd in a while.
Yeah.
My grandma always records Hallmark original Christmas movies. And we had a sleepover last year, like a straight up sleepover. Like I brought my PJs, we got snacks and pizza and wine. And she's like, let's watch one. And she put on the cheesiest like Hallmark Christmas love movie ever. But it was delightful.
Right? I mean, like, you're not watching for quality.
Yeah, you know exactly what's going to happen, but
Within 2 minutes, you know the entire plot. The acting isn't great, but it's like it makes you feel good. It makes you feel all warm and fuzzy.
we
And
smiled a lot.
There's a new one. I think it's called Christmas at the Castle, coming out with Brooke Shields and Carrie Elways, and I am going to watch that so hard.
Also on
I can't
Netflix?
wait. Also on Netflix.
right,
Yeah.
cool.
So Netflix is trying to come in and like challenge the Hallmark Christmas game. They can't hold a torch to it, but they're trying.
Yeah, I mean, well, I have a Netflix thing that I watched, and it's called The Harder They Fall. And it stars Idris Elba, Jonathan Majors, Zazie Beetz, Regina King, Lakeith Stanton. I'm talking about some like big names in Black Hollywood. It's written and directed by James Samuel and co-produced by my boy Sean Carter, aka Hova, the Jigga, more famously known as Jay-Z, the artist, philanthropist, and business owner.
/ Beyonce's husband.
And yes, Beyonce's husband.
Star of that jewelry commercial.
Father to Blue. Oh, yeah, I remember that one. But yeah, the movie is set in the wild, wild west, and it follows Nat Love, played by Jonathan Majors. And he's on this like journey for vengeance when he experiences the murder of his like parents at the tender age of 10. And so it starts off like that. It's it's R-rated, so expect to see blood. If you haven't noticed, this is a Black Western because all those people I talked about are Black. But and the first thing that happens is that you see a disclaimer that says, although these characters are fictional, these people existed. And that immediately like touched me. Because like I salute the filmmakers for this because it's giving us a period piece where Black people are something other than slaves or like somebody's mammy or something. And, after, years of like whitewashing pharaohs and silencing the Black excellence, it's inspiring to see like, Black people doing things that I previously thought was exclusively for white people. Like I didn't go camping as a kid because I thought I wasn't allowed to do that kind of stuff. But anyways, I've heard of like Black cowboy movies before, or at least like Black cowboys before, most recently in this like Netflix food documentary. But now like we're able to like expand our take on history and like introduce fascinating Black stories. So, even if it is a Black Western, let's just call it a Western. Even, this is a because that's what it is. And, it's great for anyone who appreciates a strong cast, intriguing storyline, and again, like a new perspective of the Wild West. Then pop The Harder They Fall on Netflix.
Dude, I am pissed. I came home yesterday and my husband was halfway through that movie without me. And I was like, excuse you, you're watching.
How was he feeling about it? Did he like
loved it.
Yeah,
I was like, you're watching an Idris Elba movie without me. And then he's he shouts for me at one point because I went to the room. I was like, screw you. And he's like, come out here and look at Jonathan Majors with his shirt off. I did not know that Kang the Conqueror had all that under those robes.
Jonathan Majors is
Goodness gracious.
I discovered Jonathan Majors through Lovecraft Country.
Yeah. Which is another show I need to get on.
Yeah, which is over now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to watch The Harder They Fall by myself.
You should. I mean, that's how I watch it. Sorry, Brie, I love you. But
All
no,
these
she was
men
there.
just watching it without us.
She was there. The Harder They Fall. Jeff, do you have anything that you would like to pop or drop or?
Well, maybe you guys already talked about it a lot, but my favorite TV show was What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah, no,
We did talk about
I'm
that,
a big
yeah.
fan. We didn't talk about the finale though.
Yeah. So I just got caught up because I was behind because we had so many events in October. It was hard to squeeze in that 20 minutes.
I feel that.
But yeah, definitely pop it. And I'm loving the fact that there's a big push right now because people are really hating the casting of Garfield.
Oh my gosh. Why does Chris Pratt have to voice
Oh, yeah, that's
everything?
Yeah, so there's a big push for Matt Berry, who plays Laszlo in the show, to be the
Okay, I
voice of
see.
Garfield.
All right, now I
That
see
would
the
be
connection.
awesome.
Yeah,
Oh my
where I
gosh.
come from, there wasn't Mondays.
I want Matt Berry to voice everything and be everything. Laszlo's my favorite character.
And Chris
Rather
Pratt
than
to
a
voice
human cat,
nothing.
Garfield.
Oh man, yeah, it's a great show. Oh,
Yeah.
well, at least I've heard of it. I haven't like really like gotten
Yeah, once you
into
start.
it or like just I think I like watched the first episode of the
That's
first
so
And
episode.
it ties in with the movie like all the time. So
And the finale totally set up like a big time twist at the
And
end.
I was scared because, like, the end of the second season, they completely changed the entire writing staff, and I was like, "Oh God, what's going to happen to this show?" And it got better.
Nice. That's always a plus.
Yeah. If you're looking for just like a single episode of What We Do in the Shadows to watch, I can't recommend enough the Jackie Daytona episode.
Yeah,
So,
Mark Hamill.
yeah.
And I guess I can't pop it or drop it because it hasn't come out yet. But I just want everybody to go out and see Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yes. I'm going to preemptively pop that. That's one of those movies where I'm like, I don't even care.
I'm going to like
it's
it.
going to be good.
They've had a few screenings already, and everybody I know who's seen it has popped it.
All right, so how would
Awesome.
you rank the Ghostbuster
Ooh,
movies?
good question.
Oh, geez, I can't do that.
I know I put you
Do
in
you
a
have a
tough situation.
favorite
here.
at least?
Well, of course, Ghostbusters 1. Ghostbusters 2, which was the first movie I ever saw twice in the theater.
Nice.
But it's really hard to say. I mean, in some ways, they're kind of both the same movie. They have like the same plot line. They both end with a giant thing walking down the street.
No, can't. Don't change it. Don't change the
Yeah.
formula if it's working.
And then they did that in the 2016 movie. Like, let's have a big thing walking down the street. So
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix
I
it.
don't think that happens in this movie because, for example, there's marshmallow men, plural, and they're little, and they're like little brats.
Instead of big guys walking down the street, a bunch of little dudes
Little
walking
ones
down
on the
street.
grocery store shelves.
Yeah,
So
little
can you just
brats.
eat them?
I mean,
Yeah.
Is that weird?
attack you.
Well, they're eating each other too. You see them like making s'mores out of each
Yeah.
other. They're totally demonic.
Disgusting.
But yeah, then of course they actually made this movie like 3 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
So the kids, like you're talking about with Stranger Things, which Finn Wolfhard is also in it. Yeah, they've totally grown up since they filmed the movie
Yeah, that is crazy.
because they pushed it back like 6 times. And even like this month alone, it was supposed to come out this week. Now it's next week.
Now I have a question because the 2016 Ghostbusters, is that one considered like part of the canon? Because I know like Sigourney Weaver's in it, and I think isn't Dan Aykroyd or Bill Murray's in it, but they play
Yeah.
like different people.
Yeah, they ended up in the comic books. There was a comic book series from IDW Comics for years. It just ended, unfortunately. It ran like almost like over 10 years. But they made it a different universe.
Okay.
And they were kind of doing that at the end credit scene where they're listening to a tape and they hear like Gozer and Zool. So they had all these plans from the get-go to make it like a cross-dimensional universe
Got it.
thing going on. But it's its own universe. And everybody hopes that sometime they'll return to it because there's still a lot of people who actually did love the movie.
Yeah, I'm
And
one
if-
of those people.
And if you watch the director's cut, it's a totally different movie. And it's a way slower, and there's a lot more that happens in it, a lot more comedy in it, I think. And it's just a totally different experience. And I wish they would have come out with that one in the theater. And I think more people would have liked it if they had seen, kind of like Daredevil. Like the director's cut's like an entirely different movie. That's what happened with Ghostbusters.
There's a director's cut of the Ben Affleck Daredevil.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I know what I'm doing this weekend.
It's a whole...
I love that movie.
Yeah, I do too. I'm a huge Daredevil freak. And
Yes.
But it's a totally different movie. You see him being a lawyer to Coolio.
What?
And Coolio is the one who rats out the kingpin.
Dude.
And you never see that in the normal cut of the movie.
I will go to the death for that movie. Is that what people say? Go to the death? I
Go
will.
to the mattresses.
Yes. I love that movie.
So speaking of Ghostbusters, who is your favorite?
Like most people, Egon. I mean, he was like the cool nerd and like that we all looked up to. That he was like the cool nerd, and he's all like Spock, and he was kind of based off Spock. That he was like the cool, cold, emotionless one, and then when things get really bad, he just totally loses his cool and tries to like strangle Walter when he shuts down the containment unit. And that just resonates with a lot of us nerds that keep all that pent up nerd rage inside, and Egon just lets it out. So he's a hero to a lot of us.
My favorite character was always Louis Tilly. The new movie is isn't it Egon's grandchildren, right?
Yep, it's about Egon's grandchildren. He passes away and leaves them the Ecto and the house full of ghost-busting equipment, and then they just kind of slowly discover their heritage as being Spanglers.
Which is really cool because it's like an homage to Harold Ramis and like his legacy, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, and it's got Paul Rudd in it. You can't lose with Paul Rudd.
I know. I love Paul Rudd.
Yeah, I hate him for being so great.
He's so
Never
likable.
aging?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Maybe
he's
he's
fantastic.
yeah. So yeah, that's my recommendation. Please go see Ghostbusters Afterlife. I will be
Awesome.
probably seeing it like 5 times next week. So
Yeah, maybe I'll see you there.
please.
All right. So just moving on to our news this week, thinking we talk about probably the biggest story that's been happening and still developing as we speak even. And that, of course, is Travis Scott's Astroworld tragedy. If you haven't heard about it yet, it was tragic because in this show, there were unfortunately at least 8 people that died and hundreds that were injured during this festival. And I think even like including a 10-year-old is one of the people that unfortunately passed during this event. It's, my condolences to the family members, to everybody that attended. And this really gets me thinking about, how do we prevent this? I looked into this, and these are, I guess it's happened before. I ran into an article where they were talking about that something similar to this happened back in 2000 at a Danish festival during a Pearl Jam's performance where like 9 people died. And yeah, it's just very tragic. I know it's in everybody's, news outlets. And, wanted to take the time to kind of give a chat here with you guys regarding it.
Yeah, I mean, it's awful. And like you said, like news just keeps coming out almost every couple hours, I feel like something new is coming out about it. It looks like, in the past, Travis Scott has been charged at least twice for inciting riots at previous concerts. So it kind of seems like this is something that happens at a lot of his shows. I don't know if I want to speak to like whether we blame Travis Scott for this or not, because I know there's probably a million different factors that went into this. But he definitely, this is something that's happened before at his concerts. Yeah.
I don't know to the extent of how much he's inciting these riots, but I feel like mosh pitting is a thing, I don't think it's just Travis Scott. I remember going to a Brockhampton concert and, people were just pushing each other, jumping on each other. It's not 50,000 people.
Yeah. That's probably a part of it too. Cause I've been in my fair share of mosh pits as a punk rock kid. And I used to go to shows and be like, if I don't leave with a bruise, then it wasn't a good show. Now I'm in my 30s and I kind of stand in the back with my vodka soda and just, you guys doing great. But, it's just how do we fix this going forward where you don't have to fear for your freaking life going to a festival or a concert?
I think some of it we have to speak to the culture of the environment and the artist. We talk about how much blame is shouldered by Travis Scott, and I've seen a lot of these videos circulating of here's what you're supposed to do, and it's a video from a Linkin Park concert, and they completely shut everything down to get, people out of harm's way. Or I just watched speaking of, punk rock shows and metal shows, I just saw this video at a Slipknot concert where they cleared out a path for this guy was in a wheelchair so he could get in the middle of the pit and be there with everybody. And I just feel like certain artists will foster a specific culture of respect and, looking out for each other amongst their fans.
Yeah, and I actually saw a video recently and heard audio of Travis Scott telling security, "Hey," pointing, "Look right there, come help this person."
Yeah.
And during the show, I heard that he went to Dave & Buster's afterwards, unaware of what even happened, and. You're at the show, you can't really see anything that's happening. You have all the lights on your face. You do see something and you're trying to get security to help. But obviously, there's a sea of 50,000 people.
Yeah.
How can we get these people there? I hear people couldn't if you were to put your hands up, they couldn't put it back down. I feel I think it's more than the artist. It's also the venue. It's also the security.
Yeah.
I heard that there was a security guard that didn't feel prepared for anything that happened there.
I was watching those security guards. I'm like, you can tell that they just there was an ad up on Craigslist for, a one-time 5-hour gig or whatever. And it's just whoever responded to it. Like, I was watching these security guards, so even before the show started, they're pushing down the barricades.
Yeah.
They're destroying
they're just
stuff.
stampeding
They're
things.
demolishing like the whole thing and stomping over like on top of each other. It's like Black Friday. And these security guards, I'm watching them, and they're just trying to like hit them. They're just trying to like slap these people.
Yeah.
They were woefully underprepared for an event of that magnitude.
And I hear that the insurance costs, what the insurance would cover, doesn't even cover what the damages of the event.
I will say that, there's clear video of ambulances driving through crowds, and it was declared a mass casualty event.
Yeah, of course.
And the show continued after it was declared that.
Yeah.
I do think that Travis Scott needs to have some of this responsibility placed on him. If they're putting on a show like this and 300 people have to go to the hospital, you can see an ambulance in the crowd. And there's videos of...
that brings me back to like Michael Jackson and people falling, fainting in front of him, and, people still, ambulances coming, and he's still there being Michael Jackson.
Yeah, like at a certain point, there's life and death is more important than your set.
Yeah.
You need to stop. And the staff too, like you guys have been saying, there's this video of this girl climbing onto a rafter talking to a camera person. Like, there's a dead body down there. People are dying, and he shoos her off.
And because I heard that nobody could hear her. Like, imagine like being in a concert and all you hear is doosh, 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 doosh.
Yeah.
And like you see this woman like wailing like, oh, she must be like having a party or something. We don't know. But, it's I think we had to bring in everything that's involved, you know. And it's not, Live Nation also helped with the event.
Yep.
And I guess this is an annual event that happens. So hopefully, well, who knows if it'll happen again next year. But it's a big tragedy.
Well, it famously happened with The Who back in '79, and that was when they had like first come, first serve, first seating, and so everybody was piling up at the door to get in to get the front row seats, and like 11 people died in that one, and The Who had no clue what was going on, and they did their show and had no clue until afterwards what had happened.
Yeah, I think it's possible,
and that was what started reserved seating after that.
Interesting. I guess that makes sense.
I'm a big fan of reserved seating, and I hate music festivals. And I've said that before, and I will say it again. You will not catch me at a music festival.
I've got quite a few things to say. So yes, Travis is being sued in several lawsuits along with Live Nation Entertainment. Kylie, his girlfriend, came out with a statement on her Instagram saying her and Travis are devastated, that her thoughts and prayers are with those who lost their lives or have been injured, and that they were all unaware of the events that were occurring when they were occurring, and they absolutely had no idea what was happening. The Houston police chief said he was even nervous before the event and talked to Travis and his team about it and kind of felt that there was some social tension going on there, but I guess they really didn't do anything there.
Kylie did post a video on her Instagram that showed an ambulance going through the crowd while she was there, and then deleted it real quick.
Oh my God.
So just that little tea.
Oh, and then there's a video of a bunch of security guards I've seen on TikTok. It's a bunch of security guards like kind of hovering over either probably what was a dead body at the time or just a body that went to the hospital. And Travis is up on a pedestal literally right in front of them. And he is so like blind to what is happening, literally right under his feet. He's pretty high up in the air to where if he looked down, he would clearly see that something is happening. He just continued his show. I don't know. I think this is just a hot mess. And I also saw another video on TikTok. I have never seen a concert so packed in my entire life. They literally looked worse than sardines, like crammed, because they were literally all on top of each other.
Capacity limit here.
That's what I'm
Especially
saying.
like, aren't we like still in a pandemic?
For
exactly.
COVID who?
And you guys were talking about like, is there a way to stop this? And in my head, the first thing that came to my head is don't sell that many tickets.
Yep.
Like, I know you want the money, but you are dating a billionaire. One, like whatever, that doesn't matter. But, and two, you have multiple millions of dollars to yourself. You don't need these 50 million people in your concert. You could narrowed down to maybe 25 million and still be doing okay for yourself.
I did come across something where he is refunding that show and the show that was
good.
canceled after that, and paying for people's funeral services and
Yes.
injuries and stuff.
Oh, nice.
so,
That's good.
You know, he maybe he didn't realize, maybe he did, I don't know, but at least he's like, okay, this happened because my name's on here, so let me do something about it.
Yeah.
There, and I think, again, what can we do to prevent this? I feel like we've been mentioning TikTok a lot, but it's like been kind of a resource for this whole thing, people sharing their experiences. But this one guy, his name's Remy.Rich on TikTok, and he was a medic there, and he shared his experiences. And he said that when he showed up, he's trying to navigate through this crowd. He can't make his way in, and he gets to a girl, this teenage girl that's passed out on the ground. And he's like, what's going on? What's going on? And the people around her are like, I don't know. She's just been down there for like 10 minutes.
Oh
we don't
my
know
God.
what's going on.
So it's also the people, though.
It's
It's literally
yeah.
every
Yeah.
single person that was involved in the show, from
Yeah.
the audience, from the artists, the promoters, like literally.
They were dancing
Yeah.
on top of the ambulances and filming stuff.
Yeah.
Just note to everybody listening, if you see an ambulance, don't climb on it.
Yeah,
Just
and
climb on it.
instead of filming what's happening, maybe like, I don't know, if someone's passed out, like try to get them help.
Well, I mean, that's the era we live in now.
crazy.
People just filming things. Like I heard like somebody like being like raped maybe like a month ago in New York, and people were just filming it.
Yeah.
See, and that's kind of what I meant when I was saying like the culture and the environment is, it's like, there needs to be some sort of response. And I don't know if I don't want to be like the one that's like, oh, youth today and get off my lawn and blah, blah. But there's something to be said about like a generation of people that are more concerned with likes and clicks than like a fellow human being.
Then an unconscious body out there.
And I have firsthand experience. I got knocked out at a Dropkick Murphys concert.
I love the Dropkick Murphys. Oh my God.
Me too, but I wasn't even in the pit, and somebody like maybe drop kicked me or headbutted me. I don't know what, but I got hit in the back of the head, and I was out. And I came to getting dragged through the crowd, like at people's feet level. Then I was getting like trampled at feet level.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm like, I know what it's like to be at the receiving end of something like this.
That's horrifying.
Because
Yeah,
that
for
whole
real.
show was just a big pit.
Yeah.
When I came to, it was just the whole thing was a big
Did
pit.
anybody get you out? Like when they were
My
dragging?
girlfriend at the time was dragging me out, and I came to, and I was like, "What's going on?" And I'm just
I missed the show.
yeah,
That's scary.
yeah.
This thing's a mess, and we're going to keep up to date with it and just see how things unfold. So keep up with the conversation on the Pop Culture Junkie support group, guys.
And hopefully this is the last time we have to have this kind of conversation.
I
Yeah,
know, right?
hopefully.
Just look out for each other, y'all.
Yeah, we have
Goodness
to like
gracious.
set up some disclaimers or like some guidelines for our next shows. Whenever we go out, we have to make sure everybody's safe. There's enough space between us.
We
you know.
do have 50,000
I'm
fans
just
that usually
saying.
show up to our live events. So
But yeah, let's move over to the end of the show. And want to thank our guest Jeff Lewis for coming by of the Arizona Ghostbusters, giving us some chats, some pop drops, and letting us learn a little more about what he does. Now he's giving back to the community. So I'm just gonna go pass it along to our junkies to share your social medias.
You can find me, Nicole, on Instagram and TikTok at Nicole_Eldridge and on Twitter at NAEldridge14.
you can find me, Shauna Trinidad, at Shauna Trinidad, ShaunaTrinidad, on Instagram and Twitter.
You can find me, Hayley, on Twitter at 30nerdypod and on Instagram at 30nerdythriving.
And I'm Alex at ALCASNUN on Instagram and Twitter. Jeff, where can we find you?
We have a website, ArizonaGhostbusters.com. Then you can find us on Facebook at just Arizona Ghostbusters. Then on Instagram and Twitter, we're at AZ_Ghostbusters.
Awesome. You can follow us through your favorite podcast app so you never miss an episode. You can check us out at www.popculturejunkie.com for some news, reviews. You can find our links, check out our merch, and also follow us on Facebook and join the Pop Culture Junkie support group. You can also follow us on Twitter at Pop Junkies or Instagram at pop.culturejunkies. Come back next week for another hit of pop culture.
Pop Culture Junkie is a production of Pop Culture Entertainment Group. All rights reserved.